Guys, please go on now.
Yeah, hello, hi guys. Good morning. I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, sir.
So hope everyone has joined. Guys, please check from your rooms if anyone is still missing. Everyone has joined. Guys, go on mute. Someone is on not on mute. Okay, recording has been started. So guys, this will be our Linux session 3. Okay, and hopefully in this session we'll try to complete the remaining Linux commands. Okay, and today's session is very important. I mean, whatever we have seen from last 2 days, right? So that's something related to creating our directories, users, right? So now we have some dynamic commands. So when I say dynamic means the output of the commands will be changed as per the usage. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so this is our Ubuntu virtual machine. Let me open terminal. Okay, now here if you see this, we have one command called top. So why do we use top command? Top command basically will help us to see the our usage of our CPU. So similarly in Windows, what we see, we have our task manager, right? So if I'll open this task manager, so here we can see 34% of my CPU is being currently used, 85% of my memory is currently used, 1% of disk and networking part. And these are the different processes which are running in my machine, right? So similar to this, we have top command in Linux, which will help us to get the complete CPU utilization. See, so if I use top, right, then we can see number of tasks, total 181 tasks are running. Okay, current CPU usage is 0.5%. Okay, and this is my memory, and this is the swap memory. Okay, and one user is currently logged into this machine, and this server is up from 18 minutes, and this is the load average. So here we can see three different outputs: 0.06, 0.08, and 0.08. So what are these three? This load average will help us to calculate, I mean, how many services are running or how many processes are running. Based upon that, this load average is calculated for every 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. For these three intervals of time, the load average is being calculated in our laptops, sorry, in our machines. Okay, so why do we use top command? What is the use of top command, guys?
It's used to check the performance number.
Yeah, so to check the CPU utilizations. Okay, and then apart from this, we have one more command. Let me clear the screen. We have one more command called ps-ef. This will help us to get the list of running services. If I do ps-ef, then you can see these are the different services which are running in my virtual machine. Okay. These are the different services running in our virtual machine. So when we execute ps-ef, this will help us to get the list of services which are running. Out of this, PAD means, if you see this output here, we have one column called PAD. PAD is very important, guys. Just focus on PAD. PAD means process ID. Means for every service there will be one process ID allocated. So why do we use process ID? Or for example, let me show you one more thing. ps-ef pipe grep nginx. Okay, let me clear the screen first. Okay. So what is happening when I'm trying to execute ps-ef? We can see a very long list. I don't want to check all the services which are running, all the processes which are running. So my requirement is to check for the service called nginx, whether this service is running or not. I don't want to see the complete list. I just want to check this process only. So why do we use grep command? Grep command is used to check for the specific keyword, right? So ps-ef command is used to check for the list of running processes. Then we have one symbol called pipe. So this symbol is called as pipe. ps-ef pipe grep nginx. Okay, here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to execute two different commands. ps-ef will help us to ps-ef running services or process, Okay, grep nginx, what it will do? It will try to search for the keyword nginx. Okay, and then we are using one more symbol called pipe. So this symbol is called as pipe. So what will happen is when we use pipe symbol, right? So the output of the first command will be the input for the second command. Means from this output, it will try to check for the keyword called nginx. Okay, so that's how we can segregate our output. Okay, guys, clear?
So this is because of the pipe, or
Yes.
is it because of the? All right.
Is it? This is because of pipe, because pipe
Okay.
will help us to provide input to this command. Okay, so this output will be acting as the input for this command to check for the keyword called nginx. That is because of the symbol called pipe.
All right.
Okay, and even you can find this symbol in your sheets as well, Linux command sheets. Okay, so now if I hit enter, then we can see some output. Is this correct or is this accurate?
Yes.
Why is it in red color?
See, colors doesn't matter. Always do not go for colors. In some machines we can find some colors, in some machines there will be no colors. Okay, so let me try to execute one more command. For example, Swati. Do we have any services called Swati in my machine? Do we have any
No.
service called Swati? No, right? So let me try to
No.
hit this. Is this correct?
No. No.
Why it is showing the output then? Because any command, whatever command we try to execute, right, that will also act as a process. Okay, and here we can see grep means this is trying to execute this process. Again, if suppose I am trying to execute the same command, just focus on this PID. Earlier it was 2265. If it is really running, then the PID should be same. It should not get changed. Hit enter. See, this time this is 2267. Means this output is related to this particular command input. This is not the actual output. Okay.
So basically, if it doesn't exist, then the number would be same. What would we call again? Can you say again? Beside number Sabir 2265, 2267.
2267 is the process ID.
Process ID. So every time you type Swati, now it will next time it will say 2268.
Yes, because this is running as a process in my machine. I mean, this command, the moment I'm trying to execute this command, this is executing as a process.
Okay.
Okay, and this is not the stable one. This is just the temporary one. It is creating and then it is vanishing. I mean, the
Because
process
it
has
doesn't
been
exist.
completed. Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
All right.
Okay, so for example, now I want to check for a stable process. Okay, so let me try to install one nginx, apt install nginx. It is not working. Why? Because we need to add sudo. Okay, nginx is already the newest version, means already nginx is available. And here if you see this, let me try to segregate this command as well. Sudo apt install nginx. So why do we use sudo? For extra privileges. Okay, apt. What is apt? What is
APT
apt?
is the command for only Ubuntu.
Advanced process.
Package manager for Ubuntu. Okay, and then install nginx is the command, means nginx is my service what I want to install in my machine, and apt is a package manager. So the moment I execute apt install nginx, what will happen? Okay, so this is apt package manager. So this is one remote package manager. Okay, this is my laptop. Here I'm trying to create install Nginx or any other service. It can be Nginx, HTTPD, Git, XYZ. So what will happen the moment I'll try to hit apt install Nginx? So first this laptop will connect to this package manager. And here it will check if Nginx package is available or not. If it is available, then it will try to download from this package manager. Understood? So what is apt now? Apt is a package manager for Ubuntu. So if you want to install anything, then you can use apt command. We call as apt. So the moment we execute, it will check, go to the repository and it will check if this package is available, then it will try to install in your laptop. For example, Nginx is available. That's the reason it is able to install. For example, sudo apt install Sabet. Do we have any package related to Sabet? There is no package, right? So let me hit and see what will happen. See, unable to locate package Sabet means it is not available in this particular package manager and it will throw error. Not all the packages will be available. Okay, so always make sure that not every package is available and not every command will be successful. So always check for the output. Read this output, then you will understand what happened. Okay, so now what we have did, we have used sudo apt install Nginx and we can able to see that Nginx is already installed. And apt will work only for Ubuntu. If it is for Linux, we should go for yum package manager. Okay, so for example, if it is for Mac OS, we generally go for brew package manager. Okay, so for each machine or each operating systems, we have different package managers, so we should be aware of that. And mostly we'll be using these two only. So aware of these packages. Guys, understood what we have did? Why it is able to download? From where it is able to download?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now what we have did? We have installed Nginx, right? Now after installation, what we do generally in my Windows machine, for example, if I'll download something from internet, for example, downloads. So we have this something called setup.teams add-in, right? So this extension. So after downloading, what we'll do, we'll try to install this, right? So similar to this, we need to start this service as well. Means we have installed, but we haven't started this service. For that, what we can do, we can use a command called systemctl start which service Nginx. So systemctl command will help us to start the Nginx service, and let me hit enter. We can see some output. I mean, something happened in the background. Now, if you want to check the status, whether it is running or not. Now, I want to check the status, whether it is running or not. In this case, I can use a command called status. See, now we can see as active and running. Nginx is running. Here, if you see this, here also we can see the process ID PID 710. And the name of this process is Nginx. So now let us try to check if it is running or not. ps-ef pipe grep Nginx. Hit enter. See, now the output is completely different. We can see 3 different lines. And this is the main process. And these are the sub processes. 710 is the actual process ID. Even if I'll execute this again, we can see the same process ID because this is stable and this is running. Understood how to check the running processes?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, so if you want to check the process which is running, you can use ps-ef pipe grep and then the process name. Earlier what we have did, we have used only ps-ef, then I can see a very long list. Out of this list, I need to check what is my process. I mean, where is my process available? Here we can see this Nginx. Okay, so if you want to segregate, then we can use grep Nginx. For example, if you have any other service, then we can use grep HTTP. Based upon the service name, we can change this output. So now, after installation, so let me just open one browser and let me show you one more thing. Okay, if I'll do localhost, hit enter, then we can see Nginx page is being displayed. This is available because that service is running. Now, if let me try to stop this service, sudo systemctl stop Nginx. I can use the command called systemctl stop Nginx and hit enter. Now, if I'll do ps-ef grep Nginx, now we cannot see that service running. And if you want to cross check, we can check on this browser. If I'll refresh this, unable to connect because that service is stopped. Okay. For example, let me again try to start this service. Okay. grep Nginx. Yeah, this time the process ID is 3583. Okay. Now I am trying to stop my service. I am trying to execute this command called systemctl stop Nginx, but it is not working. Something went wrong and this is not working. Even we face similar issue in our Windows machines, right? So what will happen? Sometimes the processes will not be working or we will not be able to, our machine will get hanged. So in that case, what we'll do? We'll open our task manager. Okay, as of now, this is not working for me. Okay, so we'll open our task manager. So which service is not running? For example, virtual machine. So what we'll do if this is not responding, we'll right click and click on end task. So what will happen? It will close the task forcefully, right? If we are unable to stop it properly, then what we'll do? We'll go to the task manager, we'll select the service and click on end task in Windows. So similar to that, if your command is not working and you are unable to stop any service, then what we can do? We have one more command called kill. Kill -9 is a parameter. That will be the signal sent to the operating system to kill this particular service. Kill -9 and process ID. Which service you want to kill? So we can pass the process ID. So what is my process ID? 3583 and hit enter. Okay, operation not permitted because of sudo. Let me add sudo. Now if I'll do ps-ef, see the process has been killed successfully. Now if you'll see this sudo systemctl status Nginx, you can see as failed and we can see something called code as killed. Here also you can see the status as 9 means kill. Okay, so if something is not running or you are unable to stop that service, then we can use kill command, but this is not recommended, guys. Do not use kill unnecessarily. Try to use systemctl and stop Nginx. Until and unless it is not working for you, then only go for kill command. Because what will happen is, if suppose the moment we execute kill command, right, so it will all of a sudden it will stop the process. So there are chances that your configuration files might get corrupted and you might not be able to restart that service again. If you are using stop, what will happen? It will shut down all the services slowly with proper backups and everything, and then it will close your service. But when we use kill, all of a sudden it will kill that process. Okay.
So we have to uninstall and install it again.
Yes, if it is not running, then you need to uninstall and install it again.
Okay.
Okay, so we have seen ps-ef and top command and kill command, right? And also we have one more command called tar command. For example, in Windows, for example, this is my directory and you want to compress this directory. So what we do? we will go to compress to zip file option or winrar or to archive. So what will happen? It will bundle our directory. Right? So how can we do this in Linux? How can we do this in Linux? How can we compress or bundle our directory? So we have one command called tar command. This command will help us to compress or bundle your directory. For example, let me go to the home location, mkdir, and the directory name is test_tar. This is my directory name. Okay, and then let me get inside the directory and let me try to create some files A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so how many files do we have? We have 6 files in this directory. Now I want to bundle this directory. So how I can do this? Okay, so tar is a command, tar, and then cvf is a parameter. What do you mean by cvf? Create verbose file. Or cvf equal to create verbose file. Okay, so I will be using a command called tar and then a parameter called cvf create verbose file and then the file name. I mean, what should be your file name? My file name should be techie.tar. And from which directory you want to make this tar file? So my directory name will be test_tar. Hit enter. Now if I do ls, then we can find one file called techie.tar. Okay, so but why do we compress these files? So compressing or bundling will help us to in two different ways. One is to reduce the size. Apart from that, if suppose I want to copy this directory, right? So let us see what is happening. Test_tar to some other location, for example opt. What is happening? cp- are not specified, means it is unable to copy because there are a lot of files inside this directory. But whereas if I try to copy this tar file /opt, permission denied because of sudo, let me add sudo, then it will be easily copied. So one use case is to bundle all the files or bundle all the files which are in the directory, and another use case is to take the backups of your systems. Always remember, we will be seeing lot of tar files in the future, means as part of our training, because we will be taking the backup files in terms of tar file only. Tar file will help us to easily move our files from one location to another location, as well as to reduce the size as well. Okay, so now what we have did, I have moved this file to one particular location, that is opt, cd opt. If I do ls, then I can see this file is available. Now my requirement is to untar this file, extract the content of this tar file. So how can we do that? Tar and then xvf. Earlier what we have used? We have used cvf. Now we are using xvf. Okay, so what do you mean by xvf now?
Extract.
Extract verbose file. Okay, so extract verbose file, and what is the file name? techie.tar. Hit enter. Permission denied because of sudo. Let me use sudo. Now if I do ls, then we can see this test_tar which has been extracted from this tar file. Now if I'll go to this test_tar and if I'll do ls, then we can find abcdef. These are our files.
Saber, I had
Yes.
doubt. Can you scroll up and can we type for the copy instead of sudo cp-rf recursively forceful? Is it able to copy the directory just like rm-rf?
It will be able to copy.
Okay, okay. So you can
We
use
can,
that also
we
and
can
sudo
use
also.
-r as well, but we cannot reduce the size, right? So if you'll bundle, then it will also compress the size.
Ah, all right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So and apart from this, we also have the command called zip command is also available. If you see your documentation, right, then you can find the zip commands as well. So try to execute that script zip command and explore on your own. Okay. And then what we have one command called id. So why do we use ID? This will help us to know the username. We have one more command called uname. This will help us to know the name of your machine. Okay. And what if you want to know the number of users available in your machine? Which command can we use? How to know the number of users available? At etc. Guys.
Password.
Yeah,
PSS.
PASSWD.
So this will help us to get the list of users which are available. But if you want to check the operating system, which operating system this is? If suppose you are not aware of this operating system and you want to know the details. So which command we can use? We can use cat etc os release. There will be one file in this machine called os release. In every machine we can find this file. Hit enter. Then you can find the details of your operating system. See Ubuntu 22.04 version. Okay, and other details. If you want to know the details of your operating of your CPU information, then cat etc CPU. Let me just check. cd etc ls. There will be one file called CPU info. Here I can see something called CPU. So let me check this. Cat CPUs. Let me try to find this file. Find slash fname CPU info. Yeah, proc CPU info. So this is the location. I was trying to hit the wrong location. Okay, so cat slash proc CPU info. Hit enter. Then you can find the complete details of your CPU information. So what is the processor and what is the model name? Okay, how many cores of CPUs? We have used 2 core of CPUs, right? So it will get you the complete details of your CPU information. Okay.
CP information is a command.
CPU information is the file which is available in your machine. This is not the command. Cat is the command to, I'm just trying to read the content of this file. This is already available in your machine. We just need to read the content of this file. Similar to this cat etc pswd, this file is also available. I'm just trying to read the content. And similar to this cat etc os release, this file is also available. I'm just trying to read the content of the file. So this is not a command. Cat is the command. Okay. These are the default files, guys. It is not something which we are creating. No, that will be available by default. Okay. And what we have? Can go sheet this one? Can someone pass one sheet to Cypress? And then we have disk free df command. So why do we use df command?
How much free to see? Free size of the disk.
Yeah, free size of the disk. Okay, so for example, in your Windows, if you want to see the disk space, right? So what we'll do? Where is my PC? Here we can see. Right click, properties. Then we'll get the details. Okay, out of around 500 GB, 187 is used and 288 GB is free. But whereas in Linux, if you want to check, then we can use a command called df-h. Disk free. -h is nothing but the parameter for human readable. Without -h also it will work. See. So how much we have allocated initially? We have allocated 25 GB. If you remember, when we were trying to create the virtual machines, right? So we have allocated 25 GB of hard disk for that. Okay. So the moment I'm trying to execute df, it will help me to get the details of our disk file systems. But it is not clear, right? So we can see something called 25 lakh something. So this is not clear for me. So what I will do, I will use the parameter called -h. H means human readable. Then we can see 24 GB is the size, 14 GB is what I have used, 9.5 GB is left, and 59% has been used, and this is nothing but the mount point. I mean on which file system. So what do you mean by / in Linux?
To execute
Root
the
directory.
Root directory.
root directory.
This, but whatever files we are storing are being attached to this root directory. Everything is below the root directory only. Okay, this is the file system what we are looking for. Dev HDA3, that will be the name, guys. Okay, and remaining these are the system created. Okay, so how to check the file systems? How much space is available? We can use disk free command df. -h is for human readable. Now we know that okay, we have 24 GB of data. I mean 24 GB of space. Now I want to check the size of these directories. How much size each directory is occupying? So I want to check the disk usages. For that we have the command called du and hit enter. Then we can see the usage of each directory available in our machine. So in order to make this more clear, we can use du-h. See 115 MB, 4K, 4K, I mean 4 KB. Okay, so we will get the complete information of the directories or whatever we have created, right? So which directory is been occupying how much space we can calculate with the help of disk usage command. Okay, and then we have a lot of parameters in this du-sk star sk, I think space star, yeah. So we can only see the current directories. I mean it is eliminating the unnecessary directories. Okay, lsc only these directories. This is 4 KB, this is 12 KB, and this is something around 9500, I mean I guess 9 MB. Okay, so du-sk is one more parameter.
What if I just wanted to check the space of alphabet directory?
Here you can find this 4 KB. I mean, if you want to only get that particular output, then we can use grep, pipe grep, and I'm not sure whether this will work, but let me check. Yeah, alphabet. This is how we can segregate.
Go.
Okay, that depends, guys. I mean, we can combine lot of commands. We can use multiple commands. I mean, 2 to 3 commands also we can use, but we should be aware of the process. See, d-sk, it is throwing this output. Then pipe will help me to pass this output as an input to this command, and it is displayed.
So is there any way we can ask add -s to du-sk star for the
Sorry?
human version? Above in the second step, it's
No,
du-s.
no,
We
I
cannot
don't
add
think
that.
so. I don't think so. We have that parameter. See, this is not working. Even if I'm trying to add h, right? So this is not working.
All right.
Let me try to do one thing. Du, sorry, what was your requirement? Du-h. Again, it is combining this. Okay, this is not working. We need to check that parameter. Okay, so we have free command, free fnm. This will help us to get the details of your CPU. So we have assigned 2 GB of CPU, right? 2 cores of CPUs. So out of that, how much has been used and how much is the free. So what is swap? No, here we can see something. I mean, this is something related to your CPU. Okay, but what is swap memory? What is swap? Try to Google it out. What is swap? Anyone? Anyone found the answer? What is swap memory?
Partition disk is a file.
Yes, it's a command which helps you to specify the devices on which packaging and swapping will be done.
So guys, anyone understood that? It's very complex, right? So to make it very simple, so swap memory is the extra memory. Okay, so what will happen if your CPU usage has been fully occupied? Means 2 GB of CPU is available, right? So if any process has consumed all the 2 GB of space, then swap memory will help you to execute that processes. From where we are getting this swap memory? We are getting this swap memory from your hard disk. Swap memory is not related to your CPU, but it is related to your hard disk. Guys, remember this point. This will be asked in some interviews. Swap memory. What is swap memory? Swap memory is the extra memory and it will be executed once our CPU has been fully occupied. From where we get the swap memory? We get the swap memory from the hard disk. Out of the 25 GB, it has assigned some swap memory for us.
The first one is the RAM memory usage, and the
Yes.
swap memory is the hard disk.
Hard disk memory. Okay. So now, what is the difference? I mean, for example, if we are able to generate some memory from hard disk is much cheaper than RAM, right? If you'll go to any shop to purchase the hard disk or RAM, then RAM is more cost. I can configure 100 GB of hard disk and I can make it into a swap memory. Is it possible? But what is the difference? Swap memory performance is very slow comparing to that of RAM. So no one will use swap memories. We will be having swap memories but that will be used only when we are out of our CPU. Okay. So swap memories performance will be slow comparing to that of RAM, because the actual work of RAM, what is the work of RAM? It will help us to execute our process. What is the usage of hard disk? To store the data. So there is a difference in their functionalities as well. Okay. And if we purchase 100 GB of RAM, 100 GB of hard disk, then we cannot make all the 100 GB as swap memory. That is not possible. It should depend upon the RAM, means only 1/3 of your RAM capacity can be considered into swap memory. We cannot make it 100 GB. That depends upon the RAM memory. If we have RAM for 64 GB, then 1/3 of 64 GB we can create as swap memory. Beyond that, it will not allow.
So maybe that is the reason people are going for solid state drive, SSD.
Yeah, SSDs will have the fastest performance. After SSD, we also have the magnetic as well.
All right. So we'll be able to utilize the SSD also in the Ubuntu?
No. See, current Ubuntu machine, it is on SSD only because my laptop has the SSD configuration.
Okay.
Okay, so currently it is utilizing SSD. But when we work on cloud platform, right, so we'll find 3 different options: HDD, SSD, and magnetic fields. Each
Right.
out of the 3, I mean, there will be difference in terms of pricing as well. I mean, the bill what we pay, right? There will be difference.
Okay.
We are not at all worried about the infrastructure, guys. We are only worried about the operations. I mean, these commands, how to perform, how to troubleshoot, what is RAM, how much they are purchasing. So we are not worried about that. That's not our job. That will be handled by the Linux teams or the infrastructure team. Okay. So I am just passing this information so that you guys will have some understanding on this. That's it. So do not get panic about the CPU, magnetic, SSDs. Okay. And then what we have, for example, now I want to know the IP address. We are working from last 2 days on this, but still we are not aware of the IP address. So how to know the IP address of this machine?
Ping IP.
We have one command called IP space A. Okay, and we have one more command called if config. If no, there should be no space. If config. Here we can see this 10.0.2.15. Okay, so this is my IP address. So if you want to know the IP address of your machine, then we can use if config or IP space here. Here also we can see this 10.0.2.15/24. What do you mean by /24? This is subnet masking. So this part you will know when we are working on the CIDR blocks. So do not worry about the 24. Just focus on the IP address. This is your IP address. Okay. And then what we have one more command called netstat-na. So let me just check this first. Systemctl status index. This is failed, right? So let me try to start this. If I'll check the status, yes, this is running. Okay. So what will happen is whenever we execute any process in our machine, there will be certain port numbers configured. For example, this is my laptop and I have configured Nginx. This will be configured on the port number called 80 port number. This is the default port for Nginx. Okay. So what will happen? So this port, generally this will be attached to this machine. So whenever we are trying to connect, right? So whenever we are trying to access from the browser, okay. Sorry, spelling mistake. Let me rectify this. Browser, and this is my IP address. What is the IP address? 10.0.0.15 was my IP address. On the browser, what I will do? I will execute 10.0.0.15. So what will happen? 10.0.0.15. So my browser will try to communicate with this IP address. Okay. So for example, assume that we have multiple different services running. We have Tomcat, which is running on 8080. This is also the default port number for Tomcat. We have Jenkins. This is also running on 8080. This is also default. We have
Sir, this is
HTTP.
Apache Tomcat.
Yeah, Apache Tomcat, yes. Okay, we have HTTP that is running on 80. We have Sonar Cube. This is running on Sonar Cube. This is running on 99,000. So what will happen? So when we are trying to communicate from this browser, so it will try to connect to this IP address. But here we have different services. We have how many services running? 1, 2, 3,
I
4,
think
5.
has HTTPDS also.
Sorry, HTTPD.
HTTPDS.
No, HTTPD. That's it. HTTPS is another port number, that is 443. That is different. We are talking about service. HTTPD generally means Apache. Okay. So
Okay,
now,
sir.
yeah. So now, what will happen when we are trying to communicate on this browser from my browser to this public IP? Okay. So how to which service I should connect now? There are a lot of services running. If you'll see this, we have one command called netstat-in. In your document, it is command number 51. Okay, so netstat-na. So here we can see lot of services are running on different port numbers. If I'll scroll up, here we can see it is running on one service is running on 58, one is running on 53, 648, one is running on 631, 68, 80, 80. Okay, and there will be one service running on 22. So there are a lot of services which are running. So now which service this should get connected? Means every service is occupied with one port number. So when I'm trying to connect from my browser, it will connect, but to which service we should get connected. So that's the reason we pass the port number here, port number 80. So now what will happen? This request will come here to this IP address and to the service which is running on port number 80. So it will always check for the port number which is listening, and this port number is listening to this particular service. And the request will be redirected to the Nginx. If suppose I am trying to access 8080, so what will happen? The request will be redirected to the Jenkins one, this one. Guys, 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry guys. So when we are trying to work on access port number 8080, so it will try to connect to the service which is running on port number 8080. Okay, now you might be asking, here we have multiple 8080s. So to which service it should connect? So always remember that any service can use only one port number, means the moment we are trying to run this, right, so this will not be able to execute because this port number is already in use. We cannot attach multiple services to one single port number. We can only attach one port number to one service. That's it. If 8080 Jenkins is running, then you will not be able to start this. That's how it will work. So now we have the command to check which are the different port numbers which are occupied. So we can use a command called netstat-na. So now I want to streamline my output, means I don't want to check the complete port number. So my requirement is to check if the port number is 80 is running or not. So we have the command called netstat-na pipe grep 80. Hit enter. Now here we can see listening. So which service is listening on port number 80? Tomcat, sorry, Nginx service. See here, if you see this colon 80, hit enter. This is what listening on port number 80. Okay, so this is how we can check which service is running on which particular port number with the help of netstat-na command. Now, for example, let me try to install one more service. So sudo apt install httpd. Okay, httpd. This one. This will also run on port number 80 only. So let me try to run this and hit enter. What will happen? HTTPD has no installation candidate, means that package is not available. So here we have different package Apache 2. So let me try to download this. Yes, so this is working. So now we have successfully able to install HTTPD, and HTTPD will also work on the port number 80 only. So let us see what will happen when I'm trying to start one more service on port number 80. Every service or every application will be binding to a port number, guys. How we will be knowing all the port numbers? Based upon the practice. Okay. So we have installed our Apache systemctl start Apache 2. Hit enter. See here, if you see this Apache 2.service failed because the control processor exited with error code. Now if you want to check the logs, what happened, why it has failed, we can see status. Here you can see something called Apache 2 service failed with exit, shutting down lower listening sockets, but here I am unable to see the complete output. So what I will do, I will use -l parameter. -l parameter will provide us the complete information. Hit enter. Now we can see could not bind to address 0.0.0, no listening sockets available, shutting down, unable to open logs, action start failed. Why?
Already another
Port number
service is running.
80, yeah, on port number 80, one more service is running. That's the reason you will not be able to create one more service running on the port number 80. So if you want to run this on port number 80, what we should do? Only one service can be accepted. So sudo ctl stop nginx. So let me stop nginx. Now if I do netstat-na, nothing is running on port number 80. There is no service. Now if I try to again start this Apache 2, this will be working. See, if you see the status, this is running now. Why? Because only this service is accepted now. Now again, if you try to start nginx, systemctl start nginx sudo, then this will be failed because already port number 80 is allocated to Apache HTTPD. This nginx, then you can see this port number 80 failed, port number 80 failed. could not bind because already it is in use. Someone else is using them. So if before, I mean, in order to avoid such kind of cases, what we can do, we can use netstat command -na, and you can check which port number you are trying to use, whether it is running or not. This will be asked in interviews, guys. For sure, this will be asked in interviews. How to list the running port numbers. Then you should tell that netstat -na is the command to check the list of running port numbers. Okay. Let me again try to execute netstat -na pipe grep 80. Here we can see that 80 is listening. Someone is working on port number 80. But I don't know the service name. Here I am unable to understand whether it is Nginx or Apache. Are you guys able to understand what is running? Are you guys able to understand?
Yes, it is run.
Yeah, 80 is running, but which 80?
We don't.
HTTP.
How do you know? How do you know which service is running? Because just now I executed that, right? So because of that, you guys are aware that HTTP is running. But what after 6 months you are logging into this machine? So can you able to tell which service is running? How will you identify?
By looking at the
So
process ID.
we have to search with the name of the service.
See what will happen is, see, I don't want verbal. Okay, I want proof. I want you to show me the proof that on port number 80 the service is running. Process ID, PSFNF will help you to know the process which is running or not. But it is running on which port number, you will not be aware of that. It will not show you the port number. So for that we have command called ls of -i tcp :80. Which port number you want to check? 80, then you should pass 80. If you want to pass 81, then you can pass 81. So 80 and hit enter. It should show me the port number, or else let me try to check 22. -i tcp :80. No output. Why? So what will happen is, if I use ls of -i tcp :80 command, this will help me to know the service name as well. So which service is running on this port number? So let me just check this, why this is not reflecting. On port number 80 something is running, or else let me just use ls of -i. Oh shit.
Sir, colon, use the colon.
Yeah. No exact output. So okay, let me touch this command at the end of our session, because we have I need to use one more machine. So in that machine, let me try to execute this command. Okay. So apart from this, we also have one more command, nslookup. nslookup google.com. For example, you want to check the host name or the IP address of any domain. So here what I'm passing the host name. So it will provide the IP address. If you are trying to check the IP address, then it will show the host name. For example, nslookup 142.250.193.174. 142.250.193.174. Okay, so this is something related to the load balancer. Okay, or else nslookup facebook.com. Here we can see the IP address. Now if I try to add this nslookup 157.240.23.35. Then we can get the load balancer details. See? So if you'll try to access this, what will happen? You can able to redirect to the Facebook page. See facebook.com. So what will happen if we use NS lookup? Then we can find the website name or the IP address. This is what we have learned in the session 2, client server architecture. If you remember this NS lookup. And then what we have one more command called ping. Trace route, basically that will not work nowadays. Okay, so we have one more command called ping. So why do we use ping? Ping is used to check for the remote connectivity, www.google.com, if the server, if the google.com is responding or not. If you want to check for the remote connectivity, then you can use ping command. It means that the server is up and running. For example, I'm trying to use, we don't have any domain as of now hosted, so I'm trying to use my domain Techie Horizon, which is not running. Okay, if I hit enter, this is not running, guys. So what will happen? This should throw the alert, message that it is not found or no response. See, temporary failure, because this domain is not active as of now. So with the help of ping command, we can check the connectivity of the remote machines. And then we have wget command. For example, in Windows, what we do if you want to download anything? For example, download sample var file. If I'll click this in Windows, what we do, we will click here and it will get downloaded, right? But what if you want to download in Linux? If there is, as of now, here we have browser, so we can download. But what if we don't have browser? What if we don't have any browser? Then how can we download? For example, sample var file. Okay, here we have browser, so if I'll click this, it will download for me, right? So what if we don't have any browser? So what we need to do is we need to always copy the link, go to the terminal, and do we have any files here? No, right? So wget and then paste. So wget is a command to download the files from internet. Hit enter. So what will happen? See, sample.var 100%, it has been successfully completed, it has been saved. If I'll do ls, then you can find the sample.var. So this is how we can download in the Linux machines. Okay, and then we have one more command called SSH. So why do we use SSH? SSH command will help us to securely connect to the remote machine. For example, as of now we have this Oracle box, so we are trying to log in and execute our programs, right? So what if you don't have any Oracle box? Means your server is in US region. For example, your server is in America. We are trying to access from India. In that case, how will you connect to the remote machine? For that purpose, I need to have one cloud server. So everyone, we have created AWS accounts, right, in the first day. So let me try to log into my AWS. Okay, so this is how your console for AWS will looks like. Okay, and this is my region. This is my North Virginia region where I am trying to launch my server. Okay, so we have one service called EC2. So try to search for the service called EC2, Elastic Cloud Compute. So you'll get more details about the service as well. So for now, just remember the process. You need to log in. You need to search for the service called EC2. Go to the instances. Okay, and click on launch instance. Here you can provide any name, for example, Linux testing. So this is my server name. And then here you can find different operating system images. Okay, so which operating system image you want to use? If you want to use Amazon Linux or Ubuntu, Mac OS, Windows, whatever you want, you can purchase from Amazon. So in my case, I will be using the image called Amazon Linux 2, second version of Amazon Linux. Okay, and then this will be the T2 micro only. I will not be changing anything. So try to create one key pair for us. So key pair, this will be Linux testing. Click on create key pair. So it has downloaded the key pair as well, right? So you can see here. And then ignore the default settings only. I mean, do not change any network settings. But when it comes to firewalls, right, select existing group and select default. In your machines also, you can find this default setting. So try to select default, and this is something related to your hard disk drives. I mean your disk spaces. And then click on launch instance. So what will happen now? We are trying to launch one instance or virtual machine or one server in North Virginia region. So earlier what we have did, we have used virtual machines. Now what we are trying to use, we are trying to use one Amazon Linux cloud server, which we know that it is available in North Virginia, that is US region. Okay, and once this is created, click on this ID. What is that ID? What is security group? What is networking? You will understand that in coming sessions. Okay, do not worry about that. For now, try to launch one server. That's it. Okay, so now if I'll click this here, you can find the public IP. Now my requirement is I want to connect to this server from India. I mean from this office, from my laptop, I want to connect to this server which is in North Virginia region. So how should I connect? For that purpose, we have a command called SSH, secure shell. We have the command called secure shell. So let me just copy this public IP. Okay, or else what you can do? Okay, let me just explain with this public IP only. Okay, just copy this public IP.
Open in putty, sir.
We can use putty, we can use MobiXterm, or we can use git bash. Anything is okay, guys. So I'm comfortable with git bash, so I will be using git bash. So what is the command? Command is SSH, secure shell. And then we should always pass the username @ public IP. So this is the command to connect to the remote machines. Okay, so in our case, SSH is the command. What is the username? Username is EC2-user. So how can you identify the username? Because this is the default user which will get created for the cloud servers in AWS. Okay, if you want to check that, you just select this, click on connect, and then here you can find this EC2-user. Okay, if you are not aware of the username, then always just select your instance. Sorry. So this is my server. Click on connect, and then you can find, if you scroll down, you can find the username. And then public IP. So what is the public IP? 3.95.222.30. So this is my public IP. So let me try to pass the public IP. Hit enter. So what will happen? It should try to connect. So it is asking for some authentication. Yes, but it will get failed. Permission denied. Why? If you remember, we have created one key gen as well. We have generated one key while launching my instance. So what is that key? That key will help us with the authentication. Means if you log in with that key, then only your login will be successful. That's how AWS has protected all his servers. So where is my key available? In my machine, it has been downloaded. See, in downloads, you can see this. This is the key. So now how to pass this? So let me switch to my downloads location because that's where my key is available, right? So or else what I will do, I will just close this, or else, okay, let me just close this, go to my downloads, right click and open git bash here. So what will happen, git bash will be running at the downloads location. Now ssh -i parameter will help you with the authentications. Okay, when we pass any keygens, right, so we need to pass this parameter -i. And then what is the key name, linux testing.py. so this is my key name. So I am telling my ssh command to use this key for the authentication. And what is the username, ec2-user. And then what is the public ip, so let me again try to copy a public ip. So this is my public ip, copy and paste. So this is the command to connect to the remote machines and hit enter. If you see this, we are connected to the ec2-user and this is my private ip. Here we can see the welcome message, Amazon Linux 2. Understood? If I'll clear the screen. So now currently we are logged into the remote machine. There is no browser, there is no colors. Everything is black and white only. If I'll do ls, see no files because just now we have provisioned. If I'll do df-h, then we can see the file system 8 GB. This is what I have accessed. If I'll do cat etc OS release, then you can see Amazon Linux 2 image. If you do cat etc password, then you can see the username. So this is also same Ubuntu server, but I mean this flavor is Linux and that flavor was Ubuntu. Understood how to connect to the remote machines?
Yes, got it.
Yes.
Okay. Now here also we have the root user sudo su. See, currently I am into the root user. Same functionality, there is no change. Commands and everything will be same. If I execute netstat-na pipe grep 80, then as of now no service is running on 80, so no output. I mean this we are able to get because of 80 is available. I mean the keyword is available, but this is not the actual output for us. Okay, so now what is my requirement? My requirement is to check or let me try to install something. Okay, so yum install httpd. I'm trying to install Apache. So at this point of time, what is the package manager I'm using? Why? Because this is Linux based operating system. Okay, and it is asking to yes or no. So let me use yes. Clear the screen. Now let me use systemctl status httpd. This is not running because we have installed, but we haven't started the service. So let me try to start this service now. Now if you check the status, it is running. So how to access now? We know that, I mean, there is no browser for this machine, right? So we can access from anywhere by using public IP. Public IP, paste here, :80, hit enter. See, test page, Apache, this is running. Same behavior, right? Did you guys find any difference in cloud platform as well as the virtual machine, what we have been using?
No difference.
No difference. Only is we don't see a lot of colors over here. It is just a plain black and white screen, no browser, no graphical user interface. Okay, so now let me try to check netstat-na pipe 80. Here if you scroll up, we can see something is been listening. So I am just checking for the listening output. Yes, we can see something is listening on port number 80, but we are not aware of the name. So how to check the service name? By using command ls of -i tcp:80, hit enter. See here you can see the service name httpd. So that's how we can find the name of the service with the help of ls of command. This will be asked in interviews. Netstat will be asked as well as ls of will be asked. I'm not sure why it didn't work in Ubuntu. Okay, but this is working here. Okay, guys, understood?
Yes, clear.
Yes.
So how to connect? I mean, we have seen the connectivity. We can connect with the help of SSH command. But what if you want to copy the file from remote machine? Earlier, what we have did, we have used copy command to copy the file from within the same machine, right? From one location to another location. But what if my requirement is to copy from remote servers? Means two different machines. From my Windows machine, my requirement is, okay, my requirement is to, I just want to copy this. Okay, so here we have one resume. Okay, Shilpa resume. So I want to copy this file to my server, I mean to this server. Earlier what we have did, we were able to copy the file, right? CP file name / location, and it worked for us. But what if you want to copy from remote machines? How to copy that? For that we have command called SCP, secure copy. In order to copy within the same machine, we can use CP command copy. If you want to copy between remote servers, then we can use SCP, that is secure copy. Okay, so now let us try to check that. How can we copy? Okay. So what was the earlier command? CP file name and then path. I mean which path you want to copy, right? So now the command looks something like this. Okay, SCP and then file name and then EC2 sorry username @ public IP : /path. Now this command will looks like this. Okay, so we have SCP and then file name is, let me try to write this command. Okay, so let me open one git bash and then Shilpa _resume _DevOps .pdf. So this is my file name, and then EC2 user is the username @ public IP. So what is the public IP? Let me just try to copy this public IP. Yes, this is my public IP, and paste. And path. So which location you want to copy? OPT. I want to copy this file in the OPT location, or else always go for TMP location, temp location, because there will be no issues in terms of access. So always go for TMP location, temp location. Okay. So temp location you can find in these machines. In every machine there will be one temp directory, TMP. See this one. If you'll see this cd / and ll, you can find all these directories. Here you can find this as green color, means this has the complete permissions. Whenever we are trying to copy any file from any server, try to move this to TMP, and then you can copy from TMP to any other location as per your requirement. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to copy this file from my server to this location, to this TMP, cd TMP ls. So do we have any file over here with the name called Shilpa? No, right? So let us try to copy. But as we have seen, for AWS server, for the connectivity, we need to pass the authentication. I mean the keygen. Without that keygen, this command will also not work. If let me try to hit enter. See, lost connection. Why? Because there is no keygen. It will not allow us to connect without any key. So let me try to connect. CD downloads, and let me use SCP -i Linux _testing. Sorry, Linux I think testing. So what I have did, I have used SCP is my command. -i is the parameter for the authentication. I mean to pass any keygens, and then Shilpa resume is my file name, which I want to copy, and this is my username of the server, and this is my public IP, and this is the path. Let me hit enter. Always read the output, guys. What happened? Shilpa DevOps, no such file or directory. Okay, because where is this file located? This file is located in the desktop location, and where it is trying to search in the downloads location. Okay, so that's the reason it is not working. So let me try to pass in this way. This is the location slash. Okay, so this is my keygen, and from this location please try to copy this file and connect to this server and copy to the location called TMP. Now let me hit enter. See, this time this is working. Shilpa 100%, 205 KB, 186 KB uploading time, and this is the timestamp. 100% done. Now in order to cross check, just come to the server, do ls. Here you can find this. So this is how we can copy the files from remote machines, from one server to another server. From my laptop to, I can transfer this file to Balu laptop if I have the public IP and the proper authentications. Okay.
Yes, brother.
And then we have two more commands. Acha, tell me one thing. Okay, so what we have seen that we were able to copy from one server to another server. What if I want to copy from Linux? I mean, this is my Linux machine, right? So what I have did, I have copied from my Windows machine to Linux machine. But now I want to reverse the order. Windows to, as someone got news. Windows to Linux. Windows to Linux we have copied successfully. Now Linux to Windows. Because for Windows there is no public key. So how do you copy this? This is very important. I mean, this will not be asked in interviews, but this will be very useful for you when you are working for any project. Because whatever machines you will be getting, that will be of Windows operating systems only. The servers will be of Linux. So there might be some cases where we want to copy some files from the server to our local machine. So how to do this? I want you guys to explore this and execute this. Okay, this is very important, guys. So do not skip this part. Okay, and then we have two more commands. One is awk, and then we have scd. Both these commands are used for, I mean, in general, this can be used for commands for text processing. Both these commands can be used for text processing. For example, okay, ps-ef. Here, how many columns or rows we can see? We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So out of this output, I just want to capture the PIDs only. I don't want the whole output. I am interested only in PID. I want to cut this output. In this case, what we can use? AWK, and then AWK, and then we have print $2. Let me execute AWK, and then there are a lot of use cases for AWK and SCD.
From PSEF, right?
Right, sorry, I haven't passed that. PS-EF. What happened? It was able to successfully cut only the second column of the output. So now understood what is happening with the help of AWK. We can use AWK to print to cut any output as well. This is one use case, and there are a lot of use cases for AWK. Okay, and similar to this, we have one more command called scd. So let me just try to use this. Okay, so Let me try to create one file. Vi alphabet. Hello sir. Welcome sir. How are you sir? How are you sir? Okay. So let me close this file. Now if I'll try to cat or read the content. So here we can see some 3 contents are available. Hello sir, welcome sir, how are you sir? So my requirement is to replace this sir with the name, some other name. I want to replace this particular occurrence, means I don't want to see sir in my file. I want to replace this occurrence. In this case, we can use set command. SCD, Balu command se po SCD.
సార్ సడన్ గుర్తు రావట్లేదు.
SCD command use this. So there are a lot of parameters for this SCD, guys. This is one such kind of command. Okay. SCD, and then this will be my file name, right? So what is my file name? Alphabet, and this should be the old text which you want to replace. So I want to replace sir, and what should be the new name? For example, techie. Now if you see this, hello techie, welcome techie, how are you techie? So what is happening with the help of SCD? We can replace any particular occurrence. This will be asked in interviews, AWK and SCD. These are very important. Now if I try to cat this, okay, but the output has not saved.
What does that inverted comma S mean before the sir and techie?
That is for global. G for global and S is for some occurrence. Let me just check that one. Let me open this. S specifies the substitution operation. Okay, G for global means throughout the file it will check for the difference. I mean, how many occurrences are there? But still, this file is not saved. So we need to add one more parameter. I think I'm not sure on that parameter. I think V or S or some parameter is there. Okay, so try to explore SCD. There are a lot of use cases, not only for replacement. There are a lot of use cases for SCD and AWK. So try to check that use case. Okay, hope this was clear for you guys. With this, we have completed our Linux. I think we have covered almost all the important commands which were really required for us to perform the day-to-day activities as well as to do the troubleshooting as well. And there might be some commands what we will be seeing in coming sessions, means as we progress, right, then you can encounter some new commands. But this is more than enough for us as of now. Guys, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
And also, let me stop this recording. I think we are good. So let me stop this.